Welcome, everyone. Episode 39 of the What a Load of Bowls podcast, brought to you by the Bowls Academy, looking at everything bowls around Australia, the rest of the world. DJ Dilwood and Simon Little here, bringing you all you need to know every fortnight. And here we are. Simon, how are you, mate? How's your week been? Got up to anything interesting? Seen anything new?
No, that was a really good intro, DJ.
Sorry, man. Spitting bricks.
That's got me tickled there. That was good. No, it's been no real bowls for the last couple of weeks. It's been pretty quiet, so bit of a break from bowls, which has been nice, and just cracking along with family life and work, and nothing of too much interest. But there's been plenty happening around the greens. There's been plenty of internationals, plenty of news events, plenty of different things we're going to touch on this week's episode. Yeah, welcome to any new listeners we've got. Thanks for joining the What a Load of Bowls community, and that is growing every episode. We get more and more followers, more and more listeners. So give a shout out to any of your club mates that don't know about our podcast, or even don't know what a podcast is. Just spread the word and show them how to get us directly on their phone, and every fortnight keep in touch with what's happening around the states, across the country, and on those greens.
Yeah, very good, mate. Very good. We'll crack on straight into it then. One of the big things in international bowls is obviously the pinnacle for most people, being able to represent your country. And the New Zealanders and the Aussies got to do that recently in the recent Tasman. A couple of big things have come out of that, mate. There's a couple of Centurions came up.
Yeah.
R&T's reaching 200 appearances and Cara Healy reaching 100 appearances. Mate, what do you think of that?
Well, just even to don the shirt of your country is a massive achievement. To crack up like 100 and 200 games, like that's fair going, and that takes a lot of commitment to get to that point. And fair play to those lads, and thoroughly deserved. I think currently those guys are, top bowlers in their own right throughout Australia. So yeah, well done to those guys.
Fair enough, man. And on the other side of it, a couple of retirements. One legend of the sport and one an emerging talent, you would say, giving it up pretty early. But I suppose the beauty of our sport is you can always come back to it at a later age. But that is Chloe Stewart of Australia. At the age of 29, mate, she's decided to pack it in and say that enough is enough. What do you think of that?
Surprising. That's at 29, like that's...
Yeah,
that was a big surprise. Whenever I seen that on social media, I was like, whoa, that's... You could see
leading into, mate, she's obviously she's given some thought to it, and she's putting her career first. Like, she's just taking over a general manager's job of that Sparms for the arms protection stuff for the sun and all that there. And obviously she's had a look at what's coming up Commonwealth Games wise. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And the fact that it could be dropping to 3-person teams. She was recently in the development team there and not the actual open team. So maybe she's just looked at the opportunity and thought, I'm going to have to put in a lot of effort here. Well, I've just got this new job for maybe not much reward. It might be time just to step away. But like I say, you always come back to it.
You can.
So we'll see. Yeah, definitely a surprise one, because Chloe's like one of the bright sparks of Australian bowls, isn't she?
Definitely. And they've got good culture and that going up there at Tweeds. And I recently listened to a podcast from our homeland, DJ, the Irish Bowls podcast, and it had one of the girls that was up there at Tweed and played with all them up there, and she spoke very highly of everyone up there at Tweed, especially the ladies, and how much the ladies up there create a really positive and really good environment for young women up there. So yeah, it's definitely obviously something that Chloe Stewart's heavily involved in.
Very good, very good. And like we said, at the other side of it, mate, a legend of the game stepping away. Multiple world champion, multiple world medalist, Val Smith of New Zealand has given up after 667 games for her country, mate.
Yeah, that's next level, isn't it?
It is, mate. Oh, like I said, legend is still around quite easily nowadays, but yeah, she's definitely one of those. Only just misses out to Joe Edwards as the GOAT of New Zealand bowls for the women, you would say. But yeah, phenomenal career for Val, and she's just, like I said, give it away there at the recent Trans Tasman. Enough's enough, and she's going to go focus on the rest of her life and away from bowls. And very exceptional career, Val Smith. So well done, Val, in your career, and good luck in retirement.
Yeah, I thought that was a good moment to sort of announce your retirement, DJ, because with all the Aussies there as well, and quite a lot of maybe players that she's played with over here in Australia too, that they were all there to kind of celebrate her career at the end of it, and some really good photos as well, I've seen.
On to the results from it then. I mean, it's pretty one-sided, to be fair. Australia won the overall. They won the men's open, the men's development, the women's open, the women's development, but they would lost out on the power to New Zealand, but they won the overall, so not bad. As I mentioned, mate, a couple of podcasts ago, I was very interested to see how this one would go because they announced beforehand that the singles and pairs would be played in the Commonwealth Games format. And that worked out to be 2 sets of 7 ends with a 1-end tiebreak. It could well be. That has, from what I can gather, that hasn't been locked in and announced by Com Games or World Bowls or anything like that yet, but that seems to be the format they're looking for. So back to sets play. What do you think, mate?
Sets play, yeah, it's okay, but I think the 1-end tiebreak, like, that's going to be a real clincher.
That's cutthroat, isn't it? Imagine playing for a gold. Imagine the gold medal match, and you finish like 6-6, 5-5. And you're only a 1-end. You've got 4 bowls each. 1-end tiebreak. Whoever gets this gets the gold medal. Oh,
that is pressure.
That's cutthroat there, isn't it? But yeah, I was going to be interested to see, and it still has to be announced. But is it going to be single disciplines, i.e., you can only play the singles or you can only play the pairs, or is it going to be 3 is there going to be a singles rep that plays in the pairs and someone else comes in with them? So only 2-man teams. But it looks from what Chloe potentially said that it might be 3-person teams.
3-person team.
Which sort of makes sense. You don't want to drag just 2 people over there and one playing all the time in singles and pairs and then the other one just sort of sitting out coming in. Yeah. You'd rather have a team and then just focus on your one individual event. Yeah, so it's probably the way to go.
It'd be a pretty heavy schedule, you'd reckon. So to play both disciplines, it's going to be a lot for one player to play both disciplines. So, yeah, definitely 3-person team would be a better go in it.
Big change up, mate, too, like, because we're so used to the 5-person team.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at, like,
that's Tasman to be.
Yeah, so exactly, but you look at that Trans-Tasman, like, right, well, we focus a lot on Australia because we're here now and they're the best bowling nation in the world, and as much as it hurts to say, they sent 10 men and 10 women over there in the opens, right?
Yeah.
Like, they've got to cut 70 from that.
70% of the team gets cut.
That's, like, normally it's 50%, which can be tough enough, but they've now got to cut, you know, there's people in there that you would nearly think are a lock. Like, that's going to be really tough for selectors. I'll make one decision pretty easy for you, though. It would be dead set criminal if Aaron Wilson is not locked in as a men's singles rep.
I think so.
That would be daylight robbery. In all honesty, I don't even care what his form's like leading in. Right? We had a very nervous wait to see whether Bowls would even be in the Commonwealth Games, right? And they made it in there, right?
Yeah.
What better story have you got than a guy trying to go for his 3rd one, the best since Bryant?
Yeah, hat trick.
You know, not only that, we'll have to have done it. He'd done it in the Southern Hemisphere. He'd done it in the Northern Hemisphere, and now he might have to do it on carpet.
Yeah.
All right. If he's not picked, Bowls Australia need to have a look at themselves. And all honesty, and I'll hand on heart say that you have to give that man the opportunity to go for 3.
Yeah.
You know, and as a promotion of the sport, imagine the media publicity you could get out of that. This fella, the sport was on his knees. Was it going to be included? Now we've got a guy given a chance to go for 3 in a row on 3 different surfaces. Has to. Can't not pick him. Just pairs wide.
I don't know.
Just give it singles. He has to go. I'm not. No. He's got to earn the title. Selection wise, it has to be Aaron Wilson. I think that would be robbery. Now, look, respectfully, it's going to be a very competitive selection process for only 3 spots down from 5. Like, we just acknowledge that. But for the game itself as a whole, Aaron Wilson's got to be given a chance to go for his 3rd Commonwealth Games singles. But that's a couple of years down the track. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
This is pushed off to the side. I think there's certain things leaking out about Commonwealth Games in the last couple of weeks, mate. Obviously with different announcements coming. So I think we might park that conversation for another time. That's just my thoughts on that. It's just interesting. We sort of knew it was going to be a singles and pairs. It looks like it's going to be sets play. Is it locked in as 7 ends? Let's find out. Probably come back to that in a couple of weeks when a few more things come out, mate, or a month or 2 or whatever, when we get all the information. Yeah. Moving on closer to home then, mate, Queensland Premier League, like I said the other week, pretty interested in that one this year, and they've played the first 3 rounds. Have you been paying any attention to it, mate, or are you leaving it for me to carry you?
I'm leaving for you. You're a fanboy of Queensland Premier League, so I'm letting you tell everyone what's going on up there and how did the first few rounds go.
Mate, their promotion has been brilliant. Like, I just think that they've really done the right thing getting people interested. So, yeah, I sat and watched one of the games, mate. And, like I said, they've played 3 games now. Looking at the ladder, 3 teams still undefeated, 3 wins each. And then 3 teams down the bottom with 3 losses each as well, everything else in between. So Musgrave Hill currently lead. Interesting thing, Simon. They are on 6 points because they're only counting the 2 points for the overall win.
2 points for win.
The rinks are counting for count back only. So they are not like here in New South Wales where we're all for 10 points or whatever. It is just 3 rinks playing out, 2 points for the win. Your rinks get counted except for count back, and then there's margins after that. So Musgrave Hill, 6 points. Pine River, 6 points. Burley Heads, 6 points. Musgrave Hill are on top with 7 rinks. The Pine Rivers is 6 rinks. The Burley Heads, 5 rinks. Okay. On the individual player ladder, pretty hard to separate after sort of 3 rounds, but Mr. Henry's finding it quite nice up in Queensland, mate. He's had a pretty good run up there. So he's doing okay. He's 3 wins from 3 and a plus 45 shot difference. So he's finding it quite nice up there. Playing for Kowana and then Marquee in there for Pine Rivers. Just to put it in perspective, him and Jason Carpenter, Mark Armstrong, obviously playing together in the rink. They are 3 from 3. According to this, there's 17 players are 3 from 3, but they are 12 shots ahead of the next best. So they are absolutely flying at the minute. So yeah, interesting to see how this all pans out, mate. Some interesting results. Like, there's been some blowouts, and then there's some teams that got blown out and then gone and knocked someone else off. So it's all down to on the day, I suppose. In round 1, there was a tight one there between Musgrave Hill and Helensville, mate. So like Helensville, as we said at the start, they're down the bottom with 3 losses. But that Musgrave Hill game, who are top of the table, they only got them by a shot in the round 1. Oh, so they did, And then like Hamilton Power they've gone down to Paradise Point by 3 shots, 64-61. Pine Rivers have got up 64-62 over Drayton, and then down at the bottom there, Capalaba and Tweed Heads round 1 played out a 47-shot draw, so it's just tight all around, mate. But then you look at round 3, Musgrave Hill come out against Hamilton and put 40 shots on them. Round 2, which was a double header, Hamilton beat Broadbeach by 4 shots. So it's just incredible how that was on the same day. So it's just incredible how those things can turn around. Just shows you it's all just on that day and taking your moments when they come. So yeah, very interested to see, mate. Some good players playing obviously up there as well. So looking again at some of the teams, Musgrave Hill they've recruited pretty well. Obviously with Ryan Bester going over there, they've got Sean Baker there as well. Both of them will be available in the Platinum Pennant later on too for St John's Park, I believe. Yep. Yeah, I mean, some top players playing there. They're all starting. There was a few missed early doors with the Trans Tasman, but they're all starting to come in now. I love the 2-point thing. I was a big advocate for it a couple of years ago when I was sitting with the Bowls New South Wales Match Committee, and we did it for 1 year and it only lasted the 1 year because it was change and nobody likes change. I mean, what's your thoughts on it? I just like that because it just makes it it makes it about the team, whereas to me, the rink points that are counted are just there for just rinks, egos type of thing. I mean, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely think if anything was to change and make it more of a team ethos kind of thing or help that, I know maybe at the top end of the table, like higher grades, that's what we all concentrate on, and that's what we all know we think about. It doesn't matter whether your rink wins, but as you push down the lower grades, I think that maybe then comes in that, oh, well, I won my rink, they didn't win. That kind of mentality comes in, doesn't it? And you hear that around the tables of knowledge in the clubhouse on a Saturday afternoon, and you hear some guy saying, "Oh, well, we won by 20, but they got beat by 30." But it's, why didn't you win by 31? In your rink. So that mentality would definitely change if we got rid of rink points and just went for the overall, because that's really what you want. As you said, it's a team game. Team of 12, let's make the scoring system reflect that.
Yeah, I'd like to see that brought in. So I would personally, but again, just my podcast, my opinion. Right, mate. Anything else you want to add on Queensland Premier League? You happy with that? We'll come back in a couple of weeks' time with a few more rounds and see how it's all panning out. So it should
see how that
as the matches go on, we should sort of see that table starting to thin out and get down towards the playoffs. I think it's top 5 go through the playoffs. So see how that goes over the next couple of weeks. Let's move closer to home then, mate. Our favourite Bowls New South Wales.
Yeah.
Big announcement this week.
It was big, wasn't
it? Yeah. Funny thing is, man, I'd heard it before. Maybe about 12 months ago on a podcast that was mentioned.
Yes. We did move it, didn't we?
Not removing, but yeah, basically removing grades.
Yeah.
For player grading. So you will, although you'll be graded 1 next year or whatever, you can still play in grade 7 if your club deemed necessary. Now, hasn't that sparked a lot of debate?
Yeah.
It was an email that came out. It was a social media post. I sat down there. I read through it. I was like, yeah, it's pretty much what me and Simon said on the podcast. So we'll take the credit for that.
Yep.
But then I noticed a little trait on the email, and that was a link to a YouTube video explaining the rules.
Yes.
Now, have you set eyes on this?
I have not. This was you sent me a message about it, and I said, "What video?" Because I haven't seen it. Anyone else that hasn't seen it, DJ, let's run us through it.
I'll break it down for you. First of all, okay, so they've announced the grading changes for next year. It's probably the biggest change in the COP. They've put that out there first, and I have to admit too, the rest of the COP is not available yet. So how it completely flows together, we don't know. But it's a pretty large change in what they've done, all right? So looking at this video, you've got Lee Stinson and Warren Shipley there. Lee Stinson, the executive manager of Bowls, Warren Shipley, chairman of the State Management Committee. Who better to explain the rules to you?
Yeah.
First of all, Lee looks like Andrew Lynn is squatted down behind him holding a knife to his back. He doesn't really want to be there. All right, so that's one bit to talk about. All right, he's forced them to sit there, and you can tell they're reading off the cue cards. All right, they're not as good or natural on the mic as me and you, mate.
Okay.
Then you move on to Warren Shipley, mate. Boring, twitchy, and he needs to get his hair repermed. So it does. It was shocking. He had the wet look. It's sort of half wet, half dry look going on. That's my first 2 points about the video, and I will get into the serious stuff. All right. So, like we said, big changes. You're going to have a grade, but effectively, it's not going to mean anything when it comes to penalties. You can play anywhere you want to play. All right. That has sparked a lot of debate because a lot of the lower graders are worried about the top graders coming down and robbing their flags and stuff. And I don't see it happening. However, some of the reasons they've brought this in, Simon, all right, one thing they highlighted was integrity. And that word's getting thrown around a lot. They're actually hiring an integrity manager, and then we just sat through an integrity webinar as well. So that's getting thrown around a bit in the last couple of weeks. But basically, mate, part of it is, if you think about it, they threw a couple of numbers out there. There's about 15,000 bowlers playing any one pennant weekend.
Yep.
Okay? Now, the way the current gradings are and the player movement that is allowed, you're relying on a volunteer regional secretary to sit there on the weekend after every game's finished and go through every team with a fine-tooth comb to pick up on anyone that might be breaking an eligibility rule. This takes that part away from them.
Yep.
Which I'm a big fan of because they are only volunteers. Yep. They're going to miss stuff.
Yep.
All right. Takes that away from it. I think that's absolutely brilliant. So checking player eligibility out the door. It helps the selectors too, because I know from sitting there, they're all volunteers as well. So I know from sitting with our selectors, they're worried about where they can pick people in case they break eligibility rules. Well, that's going to be out the door now. These guys aren't going to be punished for making a slight mistake by putting Joe Blogg in grade 7 when he played grade 4 the year before, because half the time that happens because they've transferred clubs, and when you're out at a couple of smaller clubs that doesn't have anyone professional looking after everything all the time, you're going to miss certain things. So it eliminates that as well already. So no more infringements. All volunteers are getting looked at. I mean, the biggest thing it takes away, no more regrades. Yeah, which is I can tell you from being on the inside, that is an administrative burden because people are complaining now because that person's going to drop down more grades than they were allowed. It was already happening because clubs were already asking for it.
Because they're already
they feel like this document they ask it to come back anyway.
Yeah,
it wipes out all that administrative part, and you just get back to playing the game. So, what issues have we got with it? Ignore the keyboard Karens that have all been on all the posts and Lone Bowls Australia and all that there. Yeah. Man, I can honestly say, and this is going to be strange, I don't see any issues with it. I really don't see it from an administrative point of view. I do not see any issues with it. All right, like people are complaining that there's going to be stacking of sides. If there is, they're going to get found out anyway. But on the other side of that, man, I don't want to go down and win a grade 7 flag as a 1 grader.
No.
You're not going to get 12 of them go down there, all right? And if the selectors try to put 12 of them down into grade 7, that's going to upset the guys that are in grade 7.
It's not going to create a good culture at your club. And
no.
I think from your point of view, like you have really good insight into the administration. Like you've talked about the administration burden of all that. And I think most people out there and most bowlers, including myself, would not be aware of that administrative burden. And that's something behind the scenes that nobody would see. It's just like, I'll get a regrade. But then all that administration that you as a club secretary or whatever then have to go on to Bowls New South Wales and they have to approve it and blah, blah, blah. As you say, if we can cut out all that administration and focus our energy on other things, all for it.
Yeah, exactly, man. So the example they used as well, right? And I think I've seen one comment around this too, right? So the example they used was a club called Jacktown, and I thought that was pretty clever. So there's no way Lee or Warren came up with that. Someone behind the scenes has come up with that one. So Jacktown Bowling Club. Okay, so they've got three grades, Simon. I can't remember the exact numbers, but there was a 1, let's say 4, and a 7.
Yeah.
And they've got enough to field that team, but these relaxing of the rules allow them to move people around as needs be based on, like, you know yourself too, something can happen to someone from one season to the next where they're not 2 grades lower than what they were. They're lower than that because they've had an injury or something.
Yeah.
So this allows them to move down. And anyway, they use Jacktown. So they've got a grade of 1, a 4, and a 7. Okay. Now, nobody next year's got a grade of 6, essentially, or they're free to move. So I think there was one comment there that said, well, what's to stop Jacktown from nominating 3 7 grades in? Bowls New South Wales are going to stop that. Because a lot of these negative minority that are having their say on Facebook at the minute, they're used to getting their way with their promotion and relegation on whatever they want. They're going to stand firm now on promotion and relegation, or at least they need to. So if you win the flag, you're going up. If you finish bottom of the table, you're going down.
You're going down.
If you finish middle, you ain't moving anywhere unless you can give just cause to move somewhere. And if you turn around and say, 5 players aren't available next year, we'll get our grade and then we'll put them in. Name them because they won't get going. You know, that's one thing that I was pushing very heavily for when I was in there too, and it looks like they're actually going to get a bit sterner on it. So there's actually a lot of common sense in this, but unfortunately, our sport isn't really renowned for that, is it?
Nah, there's a lot of Karens out there, and it's good to see that the guys are making those decisions, and I think this is moving forward. This is not going back, and people might say, changes again, but I think these are positive changes for our sport. And you got to look at it in the big picture for the whole of our sport, not just for you or your club. You got to look at it for the whole of our sport. And again, we go on about it, different episodes, and it always reverts back to that we need to keep our sport alive. And this is one of the things we need to do. And this helps us to potentially grow our sport rather than see decline year after year.
100%, mate. Like, a lot of negative comments out there. Like I said, it's a very negative and vocal minority, I feel. Like, anyone that's got, not sense, but anyone that's got any real experience or long-term experience on the gradings and how many times this changes and how often they try to get it right. Gradings have been around for a long time. How you work the gradings, especially mid-season, changes all the time.
Yeah.
When I first came, it was you play wherever you want for the first 5 rounds or half of the season, whatever it was, and then wherever you played in round 6,
you're locked.
That's where you were graded, even if you'd never played in that grade before. And then you could only go up, you couldn't go down. Okay, and then it went to no, you got to play so many games, or then it went, they keep chopping and changing it. So to eliminate it this way, but it keeps everybody happy too, Simon, because unless you win the flag, if you win the flag, you're going to be graded N, okay, which means no lower than. So you're going to not be able to play lower than that grade the next year, okay? You're going to have to nominate your grades every year. So that Jacktown that we said about, because I digressed a bit there, Jacktown might turn around to Bowls New South Wales and go, I want to nominate 3 7 grades now because I'm allowed to. Well, no, you can't, because last year, we can look at your database and we can see that you still have the same players as last year, where you played a 1, 4, and a 7.
Yeah.
Your 1's finished middle of the table, your 4's finished bottom, and your 7's 1 up, all right? So your 7's are going to 6 and your 4's are going to 5s, and you're in the 1s. If you're not happy with that, come back to us with another reason why. And that's when they might say, we've lost A, B, C, D. Okay?
Yeah.
And there's been clubs around this area that have done it in the past where we've lost 6 people. Okay, we're going to move you down. Next minute, they're suddenly available again. All right? So as long as they make them nominate those player names and they say, yep, okay. All right? So DJ Delworth and Maitland City. I can't play grade 1 next year. Just won the state flag, hopefully. Can't play grade 1 next year. I've lost Nick Cronin, Simon Mitchell, Brody Pitham, and of course, DJ Dilworth.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, okay, mate. Well, looking at what you've got, and yeah, you're probably down to grade 2. That's fine. We'll put you in grade 2. And I'm going, ha, 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 ha. And then they go, those 4 cannot play. And as long as they stand firm to that, this thing's going to work. But it keeps other people happy too, because you're going to play that. You're going to play that year. You're going to win your flag. You're going to win a 7 grade flag. You're going to be N6 the next year. So you got to play grade 6. That grade's got to move up. All right. The club's not going to have any argument. Bowls and the Rails are going to push you up. Okay. With that, then, but too, for those that don't win a flag, you're going to have a number. So we finished second in our comp here in the Hunter. I'm still going to be a number 1 next year, which prevents me from playing in the President's Reserves. It'll still be grades 5 and below because they're still protecting that. Now, if it was up to me, that'd be gone.
Yeah, we did mention
they've worked out a way that if you play grade 5, 6, or 7 this year, you will play President's Reserve next year. If you play above that, you won't be allowed to play President's or Open Reserve, whatever they call it now. But also, then we know, you see it all the time, how many graded tournaments the clubs run, and they love them.
Yeah,
11 up 4s or triples or whatever it is. They can still do that too, because you're still going to have a number that's going to be registered on Bowls Link. So I'm not saying a negative, mate. So like, I haven't read a big lot of the comments on Facebook. You know how frustrated I get. All right. I don't know if you've got any up there to have a look at now or anything, or whether you've read too many of them, but I cannot for the life of me see it from their point of view.
Happy for people to get in touch with us as well to prove DJ wrong, or put out there some sort of comment to us if anyone thinks that DJ is incorrect in what he's saying.
Right, here's another one. Here's another one, Simon, okay? Another one that they've come up with, right? Oh, well, what's to stop Jacktown Bowling Club, okay? They're 1 grade are running 3rd in the competition and can't win it, right? Yep. And the 7s are doing all right. What's to stop them putting their 1s down to 7s? Well, I'll tell you what. Team morale. Because where's your 7 grade going if you stack them with 1 graders?
Maybe sitting on the sidelines.
Number 1. But number 2, if you're at that stage of the season where you know you're not going to win and they're possibly going to win, you'll be graded in that place anyway, so you'll not be allowed to move down.
Yeah.
After you play 50% of the, like, has to be past 50%, but after you're past 50%, you're not allowed to move down. You can only move up.
Seems a lot of positives, DJ, from what you've been saying. So hopefully,
you know my thoughts at times. I've hammered them on you. I cannot see an issue with this. I think they've done. Oh, this hurts. For a committee led by Warren Shipley to show some common sense is something.
Oh, we backed him at the start of this little segment, and now you're praising him. So yeah.
Well, I've said it to Warren Shipley too. So Warren won't get upset.
Cancel that text message about the start bit, and you might get a decent text message now.
I don't see an issue with them. I really don't. I think they've done really, really well. Not only that, knowing from what goes on the inside, this has been up for discussion for a few months, no doubt, and meeting upon meeting, and then they've got to get this through the board, management and the board, and they've approved this and they've put this out. I think this is a massive change stepping forward, and I think it needs to be stuck to. And people need to get on board with it. And like I said, I can't for the life of me see where all the negatives are coming from and why they think this is going to be a problem. Now, I just don't see, and maybe it's just my mindset too, I just don't see why anyone grade 1, 2, or 3 is just going to look at this and go, oh, I'm going down to 7 grade to win a flag. Like, they don't want to win that flag. They want to win the highest flag they can win.
Yeah, well, from my point of view, that's something that I couldn't see myself dropping down 3, 4, 5 grades just to win a flag. That's not.
And just because there's a life for it.
Yeah, it's not in my DNA, and hopefully it's not in the vast majority of people's DNA. You want to play at the highest level you can and be the best and play against the best. So, look, if there's a very small minority that want to do that, as you say, they're going to get caught out, because if teams pump players down to lower grades, they have to win. They have to go up a grade. If they keep doing it, they have to go up a grade again the year after, and then up a grade a year after as well. So eventually it'll iron itself out if stuff like that is going on. But I can't see it happening across the board. It's going to be a small minority, and the police that then will be far easier if it's a small minority.
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. So, yeah, unfortunately, I've had to praise them there. So well done to them. But also, we're going to take credit, mate, because go back to episode 5 or 6.
Yeah, we did mention
it was pretty well laid out for them. They just copied and pasted. But if it's going to improve the sport, I don't mind. All right. Okay. So now it'll be normal service resumed, Simon. You haven't seen this one coming yet. I forgot to tell you about this before we came on. Normal service resumed. I'm about to bash them now.
Okay.
Platinum pennant. Where's the advertisement for me? We're 2 months away from it. I just said I'm raving about Queensland Premier League and how often they've been promoting it. Where's the promotion on Platinum Pennant based on last year? Last year was an ultimate competition. It couldn't have gone any better in its first year. Where's the piggyback off that? We've seen a recap at the end of the year. We've seen calls for commentary, which I've probably just cost myself a gig for speaking nice. But where's the promotion, mate?
There's been nothing.
We were talking about it this week. I've jumped on the website to try and look at fixtures, and all I'm looking at is the fixtures from last year, the table from last year. We're 2 months away from it. Where's the promotion, Simon?
As I said to you, because you said to me, have you got any fixtures? I said, no, I haven't got anything yet that's solid. He said to you, jump on their website, and you jumped on, and it was stuff from last year. So not even like...
I was pretty animated too, wasn't I?
Hey, take last year's stuff down, just put something coming soon, or like it. I think it just looks poor when you've still got the stuff from 10 months ago on there. That's history now. So yeah, look, as you said, Queensland Premier League, they were putting on players and different things in the lead up, and yeah, it'd be nice to see something like that. Clubs are putting out there their marquees, who's playing, a few little things about different players and different teams. That'd be good.
Some regions have already started their pennant season. Other regions, the majority of the regions will be starting their pennant season in the next couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Piggyback off that. Get everyone's interest going in Platinum Pennant. You're about to play this. Platinum Pennant's coming up. So after you had your game, get ready to watch the best of the best play. You know, promote all that. Like the clubs know who their marquees and everything are by now. You know who you've got coming in.
Yep, we do. Yep.
Share that out there somewhere and get it promoted. Like, come on. It was so successful last year, Simon. Everyone was skeptical leading into it. Yours truly as well, all right? It couldn't have finished any better. It turned out to be an unreal competition, scripted to perfection, and other than a little clip earlier on, calls for expressions of interest for the next installment in 2026 and calls for commentary. There hasn't been anything else. I'd like to see something else leading into this now. All right? I'm not going to finish on that bad note on Bowls NSW, though. Okay. Little bit of credit, but again, we're going to take credit for it too. All right, using the sources in the game, right? The fixtures aren't out there yet. Don't know who's what, right?
Yeah.
But using the sources in the game. One of my biggest complaints last year was their finals were going to be on the same weekend as state pennant finals.
Yes. Has that been changed?
They moved it.
Ooh,
that's about episode 9 or 10, I think. So, do not tell me they ain't listening. All right, so may not have got the votes to get in last year, Simon, but there's definitely some influence, surely.
Surely.
But anyway, that's my thing, right? I think going back to the positive thing, but mate, those gradings, like anyone that's go and read it, go and look at the video and listen to what they're saying. No, not so much how they're acting, because they're definitely not professionals. But you get the gist. Maybe watch it a couple of times to sort of get over how boring Warren is. But you get the gist of what they're trying to do, man. I just don't see any negatives to it from my point of view. Administering the game for the last 11 years at Maitland City, and then sort of 12, 13 all up, and what I've been doing. I don't see any negatives to this in terms of what other rules that we've had in the past. I think this is a step forward.
Well, I think that's a shining light on those changes, really, because if anyone's going to bash Bowls New South Wales in what they do, it's going to be you. And if you can't find an angle to bash those boys, I don't think there is an angle at all. So that's a raving review, and yeah, well done.
I also say I'm on the phone with a couple of them a couple of times a week. So it's not like there's a hatred there. I just want to see the sport move forward. I think this is a positive change. So all those ones that are out on that usual Facebook page having a bash at it, or all those comments that are under the announcement on Bowls New South Wales, have a listen to the podcast, sit and think about it and digest it. And if you still have any issues, I'd contact David Ellis, because I think he's on board with this too, and that's saying something. I've seen some comments, and Dave Ellis is on with this. Now, if me and him's on board, something's going right.
It is, yeah.
Oh dear! Right on, man. I've clogged the air this time. What else do we want to talk about this week? What have you got for me?
Okay, well, I did see a few other news clippets that flashed up on my news feed. A couple of good things, a couple of bad things within our sport. Good things. I seen Marylands. You see the little video that they posted?
Yep. That was Cody and
Tom.
Cody and Tom, wasn't it?
Yep. It was a little video of just the bare basics of bowls. But it was clearly kind of aimed at non-bowlers. It wasn't to all of us bowlers. I thought it was just a good little quick clip, and they sent out to their social media feed. But that would have been going to the many thousands of people that are non-bowlers that follow Maryland's club itself. Or they might go there, family go there and eat, whatever, socialise at weekends. And I thought it was a good little clip that they put up there just to promote the sport of long bowls. Just a really quick thing they probably didn't take that long for them to do. You know, another little thing of just maybe outside the box, think of what we can do to try and get more people playing the game of long bowls.
Yeah, they're doing some decent things there, Marylands. I've seen a lot from there in the last 6 months, like promoting kids out in the bush to actually like join an academy, but they don't actually have to, be a Marylands member just yet. I think that's their way of sort of paving the way for them to. You're showing some promise come down to us, but at least it's something. Like they're reaching out to the outer regions and trying to get the game spread. So they seem to be doing some good things there at Marylands. Yeah, I mean, speaking of like another positive one there too. You see the Hong Kong development team have come out around Sydney and playing some of the clubs.
Yeah, there was actually a live stream at St John's Park that they were playing. Was on it.
Yeah, nice. Cabramatta. I know they went to Wendy because I got a very interesting text message off a listener, Mr. Franklin Fong. I'm not going to repeat that on air, Franklin, but that had me, mate. I was sick for 2 days with gastro or whatever I had. And geez, my sides were already sore from vomiting, but Franklin Fong had me in stitches. So did you seen it? I'm not going to Franklin, mate, love that you're listening, love your humor. I'm not repeating that on air. So I'm not. Good play, Franklin.
They played a few Sydney sides, and I did see they visited Aero Bowls as well today. So,
okay, very good.
Yeah, they're good to see. Range from, I think the age range was from 12 years old to 22 years old.
Wow.
Huge thing for them to come over here and play against like top Sydney clubs. And obviously those guys would have put out a pretty decent side against them. Definitely St John's Park would have, and Wenty as well. Would have been some handy bowlers playing there. So that was really good to see those Hong Kong bowlers out here and gaining some valuable experience, not only playing on the greens and that over here, but against some quality opposition.
Yeah. Going on to some things not so good. Per Lennox Head, mate, hosting the state championships later in the year. Roundup thrown on the green.
Oof. Did see the photo of that. Pretty drastic.
Oh, the video was shocking, mate. Both greens. Like, one of them seems to be used more of like a bit of a party green or something because they seem to have a marquee or something on it. But I'll tell you what, greenkeepers put in so much hard work, mate. And if you walk in the next morning and you see that, especially this time of year, like that thing's probably just come back in. Renault.
Yeah. Renault.
Looking for Schmicker.
Season. Yeah.
And some Hallion, as we would say back at home, is a word you haven't heard in a while.
That is, yeah.
Just walks past the heads with bottles pierced, filled around it, and just lobs them onto the green.
Man,
if they know who that is, they need to be chased out. So that is criminal. Like, to get away with that, it's just not right. So there's like small community club doing good things, hosting state titles later in the year, and to cop that, it's just not right, man. It's just not right. Then another thing, per Gosford City Bowling Club, they're on a bit of struggle straight, aren't they? They've had it in with their main club, the Leagues Club, and looks like they were going to have to shut down, but they've managed to get a stay of execution from the council, and they've got to try and stand on their own 2 feet, going by an article today where they'll try and run the club themselves. Now, that club was looking at closing in 1990 before the Leagues Club came on board.
Yeah.
So Leagues Club's kept them going for another 40 years.
Yeah.
And then looks like things just got a bit tough with the city council and the lease, and they just couldn't come to terms. And Leagues Club have gone, well, maybe it's time to go. But the members are obviously doing the right thing, trying to keep it open. So we'll see how they go. But, we've talked about this in the past, man. Don't get me wrong. It is sad that any club gets to that point. It's sad that a club could potentially disappear off the face of the earth. But you got to look at the business models too, don't you?
The clubs nowadays have to be run as a business. And if you're not making money and you're losing money every year, how do you expect that to continue into the future? If you're not sustainable, you're not going to survive. You're not going to, as much as we want to see clubs stay afloat and clubs to remain, we don't want to see closures of clubs, but it has to be viable and they have to be run as a business. You have to get non-bowlers in your door and non-bowlers spending money across, whether it be the bar, the bistro, whatever it is, or something else, whether it be you put a cafe on the side, you put a bouncy castle on one of the greens and have a kids' family fun day that get people down to your club and spending money. I've even seen clubs that have had outdoor cinemas on greens.
Yep.
A whole load of bean bags, and have had cinema nights on lawn bowls greens. If that's what you need to do to keep the doors open, and you have 3 greens that you no longer use the 3 greens, you might go down to 1 green because of your membership. How do you utilize those other 2 greens rather than just spending money on renovating or keeping them up when you really don't need them? That's space that you could be using. So, yeah, I think clubs need to look at it from a business perspective. And as you mentioned, like that Leagues Club have kept them afloat for a very long time. And obviously they've come to the end of maybe not wanting to keep them afloat. Maybe it becomes a business case.
You know, like this disclaimer, we have no idea the finances here.
Zero.
But it's the same old story, and it's the same, everything. Like, we may not be hitting the nail exactly on the head, but we are very much in that area.
Yeah.
You would say that. Like, it's always the same thing. You just got to, too many people willing to point figures at someone else's fault, you know. But look, good luck to them. Like, they've come to an agreement with the council. They're going to stay open for a period where they try and look after themselves and get to a point where they can lease the land back. And yeah, like, hopefully Gosford City Bowling Club survive from that. So, positive note, they are fighting hard. Just a little bit, scary to see that type of thing that's sort of popping up, mate, and potentially another club lost. Getting towards the end of this week, man, I think we'll take a little trip overseas, will we? Head back to UK. I mean, a couple of things coming out of the UK. So, see that Bowls England, Powerhouse Nation, they have got some director spots up for grabs. Will you be nominating?
That's probably crucial to our sport, DJ. Like, Bowls England are obviously top nation, not far behind Australia, and that kind of position holds direction of our sport. I think, you know, that Bowls England will be heavily involved on the world stage in terms of where our sport and the direction it goes. So, yeah, that's some big shoes there that into a director spot. So, I don't know. Have you got any tips there, DJ, on who might go in there?
I think that type of stuff's right up your alley, mate. I could see them falling asleep in board meetings. I think I've got the attention span for that. But yeah, it's more up your stream. No, but being interesting, as you said, it's pretty key to the sport, and the success of Bowls England helps the success of World Bowls as well. So it'll be pretty key to see who gets into those positions. Staying there, mate. Moving up to Scotland. We spoke about a certain Mr. Jason Banks having won everything down at Potters there recently, and
yep,
their local. I think it was just a gala they were holding, wasn't it? No, it was the World Championships, was it? You know, the World Bowls fair that you loved so much last week or 2 weeks ago. You know,
I'm not going back.
I mean, he's had his local club naming after him, the Jason Banks Arena.
Good on him. Yeah, good on him. You're never going to get an arena named after you, DJ.
Sorry, you watch this space, sunshine.
You're doing at Maitland. I don't think it's going to be called the DJ renovation.
It's in negotiation. You stay out of it. Mr.
Good on him. You get an arena named after you, you've obviously done something good. So, yeah, well placed for the guy.
You would be, because you share a lot in common, having no hair. Have a go at me about my arena. You gotta love stuff like that. I mean, when people get things named after them, and there's always been the old history of greens being named after and rinks being named after, and certain areas of clubs being named after. So obviously that was pretty fair achievement of Jason, like we talked about in the last podcast, winning everything down at Potters that he could have that particular week. So he obviously had a purple patch. So, yep, well done, mate. Good to see some recognition.
I thought, DJ, to finish up on this week, what are you reading? Anything interesting? Watching anything interesting? What's been on your radar? Give folks a bit of a glimpse into your relaxed time.
What is that? A full-time job in bowls, 3 kids, a wife. What's relaxed time? Not much, man. Me and Yana just try to make sure we get some key time together and just pick a show on Netflix and binge watch it or something. They're on things. So we've gone through Suits. That was very good. I never watched it at the time. Fish in 2019. Watched Suits, man. Absolutely brilliant. I'm pretty sure Harvey Specter was based on me. To be honest with you, I've watched it.
You're kidding. You're kidding, eh?
we're on to Modern Family at the minute, and then mate, the kids are just going back to school, so you'll know when they get a bit older too. It's all about that key time with them, especially with the girls getting a bit older. It's going to be a certain time where it's get away from your daddy. Zoe going red hot at athletics again. She's qualified for state in the 200 meters in the relay, so that's all happening as well. That's coming up, and yeah, mate, I just very, very family orientated, I suppose. Like I'd rather just sit at home with family than sit down in the club and watching a TV, drinking Pepsi Max. Just play a drink. But what about you, mate? You were talking about a very interesting documentary earlier on. But just want to point out, interesting is subjective.
Well, I did watch a documentary. It's on Netflix. It's about the guy. This is something that you will definitely not do. It's about the guy that ran from Perth to Sydney.
Why? Why would you do that?
47 days it took him. He ran about 100 Ks every day.
Oh, wow.
But it's quite inspirational. Actually, you should watch it, DJ. Quite inspirational. And
it'll take more than that to inspire me to run, Simon.
Yeah, it says the guy that got himself an electric bike.
It's a push bike with a battery.
Righto. Look, jokes aside, I think what the documentary sparked in my brain was this guy decided he was going to run from Perth to Sydney to raise money for homeless. The amount of people that he got engaged in what he was doing in terms of running and people up off their backsides that weren't runners but got them to run. How could we do something on the bowls stage to get people to play bowls that aren't bowlers? If anyone's got any thoughts out there, watch the documentary. It might spark some inspiration. Get in touch with us. If anyone's got some great ideas of how we can get non-bowlers to play lawn bowls.
It'll be interesting to hear that one. So you reckon that documentary over the OJ one? Is that what you're saying?
I feel like it's a good true crime, but
it's hard to beat at times. But yeah, I'm interested in watching that one actually, just while we're talking about shows and things. But yeah, very good, mate. So that's pretty much us for this week, unless you want to go off on another rant about anything, do you? I know penance is coming up. You got the interesting usual whingers about what's going on with selections. I'm about to be the most hated man in the club in about a week's time once the teams get announced.
Well, what's your preparations, DJ, going on at Maitland? You've a couple of weeks to go, and yeah, pennant's going to kick off. What's the vibe been at Maitland?
Man, it's been pretty good. Like I think we've really improved out of sight in the last couple of years, and it's not like it's easy to say if you're successful, but I wouldn't say we've been overly successful in terms of bringing flags home. But it's starting to appear because there's a lot more of a positive attitude around the place. You know, the old coffee table chat and working out what people are like before you let them into the club or moving them on if they need to type of thing that Craig Dillman talks about at the Storm. It's getting the right people in me, and I think we're pretty close to doing that. We've got, same as a lot of clubs, there's a Friday afternoon coaching session. We've got two very good coaches there in MB and Georgie Niznik that set up some different drills each week to keep it fresh and get people down training between a sort of 1 and a 3 or a 2 and a 4 depending on the weather, getting them ready for pennants related stuff. We've had 2 trials with it was a good one actually. We sent 4 teams down to the entrance, so I got them a coach, threw them all on the coach together. So 50 people on the coach. How often do you get to do that really with pennants? Like how often you get a pennant trial and they're all off to different clubs around the place? I'm a big fan of not playing any pennant trials against clubs in your region because you're going to face them at some point anyway.
Anyway, yep.
Like teams are going to be different because you got availability left, right, and centre when it comes to trials. But like I just thought that would be a great one, and yeah, luckily the manager backed me there, and he says, "Yeah, mate, get a coach, get them all on." And they had an absolute ball down there at the entrance with Kyle Langley and the guys. Clubs should be open now. I wasn't open at the time. The Greens were, because you know the entrance had that fire a while back. And then the other one there was just sent to Charlestown as well. So we've had the 2 trials. Just brings its own things with it. Like you want to have everyone available, but you don't want to force everyone to be available because you expect them to be available during the season, which is more priority. We try not to put too much emphasis as such on, especially the first trial, on where people are playing. Like, we want a skip to be in a skip's position and things, and we want to have them close to the grades they're going to be in. I'm not going to throw a 7 grader into grade 1 for the sake of it. Yeah, mix it up. Like we want to have competitive sides, but I still get the usual. Like there was somebody in grade 5 in the first game and grade 6 in the second game. So why did I get dropped? If it's a trial, you did not get dropped.
There's no.
You don't have a place yet. Oh, I was in this grade last year. Yeah, you were in grade 7 last year. So you had a crack at 5 and you had a crack at 6. Like, have you looked at the team sheet? Because I actually made sure, Simon, that I listed all the people that were unavailable.
Yeah, they've got to come
So
back.
because people they want to look and go, well, if I'm here and there, why am I not up there? Just look further down at the bottom and see how many other people have to come in as well. I love the game. It's given me so much, but it's just there's so many individuals in it for such a team sport, and I cannot get my head around it at times because I got to look at some other team sports, and I've used the example with you before, like cricket and basketball. They are obvious team sports, but there's so much focus on individual statistics in there that it's really weird for me. Like I grew up playing, football in the early days and then rugby. Like there's not really you want to know how many goals you scored at the end of the season or how many tries you scored at the end of the season, but that's purely on attack, and you don't know who was the best. You don't know how many defensive tackles were made. You don't know how many clean sheets are kept. Yeah, everyone focuses on the attacking side of stuff. But you've got your batting stats, your bowling stats. Right? When it comes to basketball, you've got that many stats. It's not even funny. But they are team games like bowls. But what individual stats have you really got to compare with at the end of the year? I don't know how many games Aaron Sheriff's won as a skipper over his career. I don't know how many gold medals he's won because he was good enough to play for Australia. But when it comes to playing for all the clubs he's played for, I don't know all that. We don't need to know all that. So why everyone's just focused on where they're going to be and not trying to win as part of a team? It's so hard to change. The way it's getting better, but you're sitting there, you're picking what you think's good teams. You think you're going to be competitive this year. You put everyone out for trials as best as you can because, like you said, you're relying on availability, but you're not forcing the availability. Because to me, you don't want to force and get people offside, and then they potentially have to miss 2 games during the pennant season because they played those trial games. So to get the comments like that, it's just come on. And it doesn't matter. You tell them all before they go to play. Do not take notice just yet of where you are in these teams. There will be changes. There will be changes. There will be changes. There was changes, and you still get why was it dropped? It's not dropped. We have to look at things. That's why they're a trial. There's another whinge. Get on you, mate. You must have had a bad day today, did I?
You must have had a bad day at the office, mate.
But I'm really. It's probably the season I've looked forward to the most because I'm you sit in the office and you start penciling things together and you realize how competitive it is across the grades for teams. How good some of the teams look because some of these players are playing super. Actually, man, I'll give us a good rap. We had our club 4s there between the last podcast and this one.
Yeah.
56 men on the green, all on the one shirt.
50.
Yeah. We have gone from a couple of years ago, we had 7 teams into the club 4s. That's when it was nominated. So you pick the other 3 players you wanted to play with.
Yeah.
Last year we made the change and said, well, let's make it single entry, not graded like some people do. We just made it single entry. So guys that don't normally get asked can put their name up. They're going to get a game. You just have to make, it's up to me then to make the even numbers.
Yep.
So we went from 7 to 11 to 14 this year. We have 14 men's teams of 4s, 3 weeks out from pennants, all out there playing together, all in different, they weren't necessarily in different positions, but you had all these different people that wouldn't normally play with each other. And we were good enough to get some of our best guys like Simon and Mick to come down and play. So Mick's won it with 3 guys, and they could not have been happier, mate, because they wouldn't normally get a chance to win a club title like that.
Yeah.
And just the atmosphere on the day was just fantastic. So it was, because everyone's just looking around, seeing everyone in the same shirt, and just it was a really, really good day. I'd encourage a lot of clubs to try it. I know a lot already do. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I haven't come up with this bright idea. I understand that. All right, we made the decision there 2 years ago to try it, and it is going gangbusters. And then I'll sit there and I'll look at players that came to me and said, I'd love to play in it, but I'm not available that week. And you look at, we could have had probably extended it into a second weekend. Now you look into that and realize that when it comes to regional stuff, we only get 5 teams that enter. We're doing all right as a club. So just things like that are getting me really excited for what potentially is going to come. It's going to be headaches throughout the season. You always do in my position. It's just, people are going to get sick and not be able to play. The wife's cat's going to have a birthday and she expects you to be there. You're going to get the little things like that. There's going to be, I actually don't think we'll have it this year because everyone says, when this grade's out of it, they're going to start pulling it because they can't win it. I don't think we're going to have that. We've got a pretty good atmosphere now.
But that comes down to club culture.
I really do think we have that.
That's what you've been building on and working on over not just the last 12 months, but years gone back, that kind of thing starts with small little changes from probably 2, 3, 4 years ago. That all builds up to something. And I think to take from what you just said is that in order to create that at your club, you need to change those little things like club championships and how they're done, and to get people motivated and into competition and playing, those are little small changes that your club might have to change in order to drive that participation and get people on the green and get them, geared up for playing competitive bowls. So yeah, good on you up there at Maitland. So well done, and DJ, and hopefully this year is successful and the first couple of rounds go off really well for you.
Yeah, that was successful too, mate. So time will tell. It's the other thing that players need to understand. Like, selectors can pick teams. Volunteer selectors, as I keep saying, can pick teams. It's then up to those players to go out there and perform as a team. You know what I mean? So they try their best to get people in the right positions. It's up then to them go out there and perform and win that flag at the end of the day and qualify for state. Like, I'd love nothing more to have 4 or 5 teams going away to state and give myself an absolute headache trying to organise logistically all that. Who's going where, who's looking after what, where are they going to eat, how are they getting there, where are they sleeping, blah, blah, blah. I'd love nothing more than sit and do that for 2 weeks while I try and organise 4 teams. But yeah, it'd be great, mate. Looking forward to this season. Yeah, looking forward to see if Tarrant Point can get off the bottom of the table in Platinum too, mate. What do you reckon? How are you going for preparation?
Well, I think we'll just let our bowls do the talking, DJ, and hopefully some good ones come out over those quick fire rounds. We're playing Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. It's going to be mad weekends playing bowls. So hopefully the old body can stick it and play 3 games over the weekend, and hopefully some good ones come out, DJ.
Well, I'll be able to tell you a bit more when I see the draw, mate, but it's all on the wraps at the minute. Is the competition even happening? Like, I haven't heard anything. Like, what's going on there? And on that note, mate, like, we might finish off. But yes, mate, it's been another fun week talking to you on the podcast. Hopefully everyone's listening again, and yeah, we'll see you all in a fortnight's time. In the meantime, keep that little disc on the inside.
And good luck on those greens, folks.